Don't you get sick of hearing all the hot air that fills so much of the internet? Everyone talks like they have the answers to the world's problems. Whether it's religious know-it-alls or political drumbeaters, they argue their case until they are blue in the face. But when they're finished, the problem still remains. Sunday after Sunday, preachers in pulpits all over the world tell us that our lives will be transformed if we would only do what they tell us to do. But come Monday morning, and we all go dutifully back to work in the salt mines of the world, just as trapped as everyone else in the mindless rat race that we call the economy. The same is true for political activists. They spend their weekends marching and demonstrating for one high ideal after another, only to finish up the same as the churchies, back at work for the very system that has caused the problems in the first place. If we should have learned anything from all the lockdowns that have occurred around the world in the last year and a half, it is that the world will not come to an end if we stop working for money and start using our lives to do something more worthwhile. And what could be more worthwhile than simply demonstrating to the rest of the world that the answer lies in serving one another and serving God rather than serving mammon? It's what Jesus taught, but he did more than teach. He went out and lived it. He and his disciples demonstrated the kingdom of heaven. That's the magic ingredient that is missing from sermons everywhere. Whether atheistic or theistic, soapbox orators all over the world are just so much talk. And the reason is because they all refuse to challenge the lie that money makes the world go round. We Jesus Christians have found in the teachings of Jesus about money the way to turn all that talk into walk. You name the ideal and we can live it. When your sermons are finished, we'll be out practicing what you could only preach. Years ago in Australia, I was unceremoniously kicked out of the unprogrammed Quakers in Australia in a well-attended meeting in a basement under their meeting house in Sydney. They had never been known to kick anyone out of their fellowship. They are seen as the most tolerant religion on earth. You can be a Buddhist and still be a Quaker. You can be a practicing gay and still be a Quaker. You could be an atheist and still be a Quaker. You can be a witch and still be a Quaker. But what they could not tolerate was a Christian, one who actually followed the teachings of Jesus Christ. They have never dared to publicly reveal the reason for their decision to disfellowship me, although they whisper various reasons to various people, depending on which lie they think will suit the situation. But one of their own, an American Quaker who commuted between Australia and the US in his job, confided to me that he understood what it was that we had done. "You have out-Quakered the Quakers," he so wisely said. In other words, we were living what they could only pontificate about. We were walking their pompous talk. But it did not start with the Quakers, and it does not end with them. You name the cause, you name the ideal. We can walk it while others can only talk it. And why is that? It's because we have believed the good news of the kingdom of heaven that Jesus preached. It's because we have the time to do what they can only preach in theory. And all because we stopped working for money. Everyone says, in essence, if the whole world would just follow me, I could solve all its problems. And they all finish with an election where minions cast ballots and elect officials to do it all for them. They even give the officials money, literally trillions of dollars, with which to solve the world's problems. And what happens? They just get more problems. Even the best governments can do nothing better than put band-aids on gaping wounds. They all fail to see that the solution is to dismantle the whole system and stop working for money. The solution is to start living for love. doing only those things which will help others, and doing it all for free. That is what Jesus taught, and that is what we are doing. We call it living by faith. Almost 50 years ago, I went into lockdown spiritually. I heard Jesus say, "You cannot work for two bosses at the same time without cheating one or the other. Either you are going to cheat God or you are going to learn to despise money. Choose which one will rule your life." So I quit my job and started working for God. Now, when I stopped serving money, I honestly expected that I would die. But I felt I still needed to do it because it was what the only begotten Son of God had told his followers to do in his famous Sermon on the Mount. He had told me to stop working for money and to start working for God. I had not read on to hear him say that all my material needs would be met. I just knew that I had to do what he had told me to do or stop claiming to be a Christian. I was going to work my way to heaven, as so many of my religious friends said in disgust, even if it meant working myself into an early grave. But I didn't die, and my family did not die either. We flourished, not materially. No, we started out camped beside a little stream at a remote roadside rest area, forced to travel by foot or to hitchhike with our 4 very young children. But God fed us, and He clothed us, and we learned how to be content with that. You see, that is the first step to living out your dream, learning to be content with just food and clothing. The bare necessities of life, as Baloo the bear sings in the Jungle Book. But what we got, along with those bare necessities, was life itself. Life in all its fullness, as one translation puts it in the Bible. Life more abundantly. For, you see, what life is all about is time. We have been told since infancy that money is life. No, no, 1,000 times no. Time is life. And all the talkers of the world don't have it. They have sacrificed their lives to become wage slaves, while God has, through the teachings of Jesus, freed us from such slavery and given us back our time to be used for whatever He chooses. We have learned to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. You want love? They all talk it, don't they? But where can you find anyone with enough time to really love? Christmas is not all that far away, and what do parents do year after year to express what they call love to their children? They work hard and harder and harder just so they can buy bigger and bigger gifts to put under the tree. And still their families fall apart. Why? Because they don't have the time to truly love their children. Marriages fall apart because the relationship takes second place to the career. Churches become breeding grounds for hate, racism, contempt for the poor. Politics, too, even when it talks about helping the poor, turns into a war against the rich, the same rich people whom they all would like to be like. No, friends, no, that is not where happiness is to be found. Happiness is to be found in contentment. Contentment, the Bible says, with godliness is great gain. Contentment is, in fact, the key to happiness, as well as the key to life in all its fullness. We have been in and out of many churches. The Quakers were only the most recent ones. But we have been in and out of political actions as well. Actions to support refugees, actions to stop racism, actions to stop war, actions to clean up the environment, actions to stop climate change. But at the end of all the rallies, when the others have gone back to their jobs, we continue to live the alternative. And here is the most shocking news of all. Our ability to do this and our eagerness to teach others to do this angers all of them. We are hated by all sides. Why? Because we have out-talked the talkers, simply by turning that talk into walk. The answer to climate change is not Tesla cars, like so many yuppie climate change activists believe. If we could make enough Tesla cars for the entire world's population in just one day, global warming would wipe us all out. Making the cars in itself would rob the Earth of its resources and produce carbon by the planetful. No, the answer is contentment. Global lockdown, for as long as it takes to get us to stop fearing life off of the conveyor belt. Yeah, sure, in the end, someone does need to make the roads and grow the crops and bring in the washing. But we can do all those things and more when we take the time to sort out what really are essential services. And we can all work together, providing those essential services without anyone needing to starve or die of COVID along the way. If only we would walk the walk and stop all this wasted talk. Over and over in Scripture, we are told to be doers of the word and not hearers only. The wise man, Jesus said at the end of his Sermon on the Mount, is the one who hears these sayings of mine and then does them. The wise man builds his life on the rock of those teachings, and nothing can shake him. The foolish man, on the other hand, is the one who sits faithfully in a pew week after week and hears the sermons, but never does them. Jesus said, "If anyone hears what I am saying and then does not do them, he is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. When the storm comes and the wind blows, when the rains fall and the floods rise, his house will fall, and great will be the fall of it." You can do like the Quakers and kick me out, but it won't make the truth go away. You can call those of us who are trying to obey Jesus a cult and call me a cult leader, but it won't stop us from living what you can only preach. You can say that we are an evil religious influence on your political demonstrations, but it will not hide the fact that we have the solution to climate change, the solution to racism, the solution to war, and the solution to poverty. Are you tired of just talk? Do you want to start living your life for love? Going into all the world to demonstrate as well as preach this whole new way of life? If you do, please write to me at the address on screen now. Share a little about your own spiritual journey and let me know what country you live in. I look forward to hearing from you today. God bless you. Thank you for listening.